you want them to be aware of you, but you don't want to be really putting all the eggs in one basket and having that paid ad. You want them to have understood the product a few times. Maybe they've been introduced to it a few times, and then they'll be closer and ready to make that conversion, which is what everyone wants.
Kia ora team, Richard Liew here, editor at nzentrepreneur.co.nz, and today on the Knowledge Base, I'm joined by Joshua Lyons. Joshua's from MyMarketer, and we're going to be sort of having a bit of a deeper dive into some of the marketing headaches that they commonly see amongst startup and SME business owners. Joshua, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, Richard.
For those who haven't heard of MyMarketer, can we start there? Who is MyMarketer?
Yeah, so MyMarketer is a business that's primarily geared towards small to medium-sized businesses, and what we do and what makes us kind of special and different is that we like to become your marketing department. So for businesses that don't have the need or don't want to allocate the budget to having a full-time marketing professional on their team, we step in there and we become your marketing department. We like to focus obviously on marketing strategy, but we also are able to do the creative work as well. So we're not like a typical agency. We blend those lines and we become part of your team. One of the kind of analogies that we like to use is when we start to work with you, we want to be part of your team, but we want to trade in our business card and take on your business card. So we're thinking about your business from the inside, and we're taking care of all of your marketing needs and delivering that service for you.
Awesome. And what's your role there?
Yep. So I am I'm a business owner. So I have a portfolio of clients, and I help to obviously, like I was saying, deliver them their marketing plans and strategies, and help them execute their tactics. So in a day-to-day, could be doing anything from helping them to build a website to planning out their next 12 months of marketing strategy. So it's quite a diverse role, but it obviously allows for us to deliver great value to our clients as far as we can do almost anything that they want us to do in the marketing realm.
In my experience, again, as a business owner, an entrepreneur, a founder, marketing it's morphed over the years, right? It's always changing. Technology is changing, but it seems to me like unless you have the luxury of being a full-time marketer, it's almost impossible as a business owner to really be across all the different disciplines and the strategies and the tactics, all the platforms. So what do you see as some of the key problems or headaches that people struggle with, when they come to you for help with marketing?
Yeah, so often what we'll see is people like yourself or business owners who will be really good at the thing that they're doing, right? So that's what's led them to start their business, and led them to gain some traction in that realm. But obviously, like you've said, the marketing realm is a bit of an unknown to people who are outside of it, and so that's where having someone that you can be your port of call, like ourselves, that's really beneficial for business owners, because what we can do then is we can obviously be all over those tactics and all over those campaigns, but we can deliver that to you and the information that is digestible to you. Obviously, you don't want to be spending too much time getting into the nitty-gritty of Google Ads, for example. But if you have a trusted person who becomes your marketing manager, they can deliver you that value, also can show you the benefits and report back to you. So we like to think of ourselves as always doing the thinking before we do the doing. So that's where kind of having those plans and strategies is an important thing. Often we'll find that business owners and people who are kind of in the small or startup realm, they'll be hesitant to start to formulate a plan, but the plan is what gives us the structure to report back to you and to actually have a roadmap for what we think the business journey is. So often people will kind of want to just jump in and do some stuff, but we think it's really important to have some good thinking around the doing before we step in.
Hmm. Because there's just so many opportunities to spend money on marketing, right?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
possibilities
Yeah,
are endless.
yeah.
And, again, like anything that we choose to spend our time, focus, or money on as business owners, we've got to be really careful about understanding how that strategically adds value to what we're trying to do, and what, the return on the money that is going to be that we're going to spend.
Mm.
Can you talk to that?
Yeah, so having that kind of a plan, if that's a 12-month plan or kind of a roadmap for where you think you want your business to be in a set period of time, that's crucial for then determining what those activities, those marketing activities look like. So obviously they're going to be different for different audiences, but having that structure and that plan allows to be able to report back and to make changes based on if something is working or isn't working. Without that, we find that it's kind of similar to having a shot in the dark and hoping that something lands. But if you have a bit of a structure around it, that helps to facilitate your efforts in what direction you think is best.
Hmm. Can we talk quickly about the difference between sales and marketing? Because I think for first-time business owners, there can be some confusion. And you've got different types of businesses as well. You've got businesses who are selling to end users or consumers, consumer
Mm,
goods, and you've got businesses who are selling to other business people. Where you know maybe you've got a website and some products that you can sell completely online, but many businesses don't. They actually have to have a conversation at the end of the marketing process. So where does that line start and finish, in your opinion?
if you bring us on board and we become your marketing department, obviously there's time and effort spent in figuring out where those audiences are. So like you said, if it's a consumer good, then it's quite clear where those audiences are. But sometimes it's those conversations and it's that B2B and those connections. And so that's where obviously, like you said, there's a bit of a line where we have to facilitate and we have to do the work that applies to those people, because obviously Google Ads or something like that, or paid advertising might go straight to those kind of consumers who are buying a widget or something like that. But if we're trying to facilitate those conversations, then there's a little bit more strategy behind how we're going to target those people or approach those people, and really hone down on our audience. Obviously, it's important to when you're creating the structure or you're deciding who your audience is, it's so key to figure out where do they live. I mean, where do they spend their time, and where are we going to make those meaningful connections with them, so that when they're ready to make a decision or make a purchase or something like that, they know where to find us, and they've already seen us.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the, I guess, emerging trends that you might be seeing across marketing, say, with paid advertising, say social media advertising, what's happening around that with, Facebook, TikTok, etc., and potentially Google Ads? These are two very common ways that small businesses can spend a little bit of money and start trying to get some traction. Anything that people should be knowing about, like what's different now than say a couple of years ago, and what might be different coming down the pipe in the next 12 to 18 months even?
Yes, well, I think there was kind of a initial rush to some of these methods, especially kind of this on the social side, where people felt like they could, obviously spend a bit of money and get some impressions and leads that way. But what we're kind of seeing a lot more is creating a bit of a structure and a narrative through your outreach and through what you present to clients is really key. That's key in kind of building the brand identity and what they know you for, but it's also to build that kind of consistency. So it's about delivering consistent messaging that is valuable. So that's sometimes where it becomes tricky, because obviously that's a big order. But what it is focusing on how do we reach that audience and what does that audience what's their pain points and what's going to get them over the line. So it's creating that plan and having that structure so that you can change the plan, similar to what I kind of already said. But then we can report back on it, because obviously when business owners are kind of starting out, often they can do some of these things themselves on social media and that type of thing. But it's having that structure and that planning around it, which gives you the best results and the best kind of return on your investment. You're not just kind of spending willy-nilly.
Because it is super easy to spend, right? But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, to me, it seems like the organic reach from social media, especially around Facebook, for example, potentially even LinkedIn, is just constantly decreasing, right? Posts that you put out with organic content that you're not boosting, for example, just the engagement rate to me seems pretty terrible. Is this just a big ploy by Facebook, Google, etc., to basically force us into a position where you can't really do anything unless you're paying for it?
I don't know if it's that. I think what it potentially could be is that there's lots of people who are seeing, like I was saying, seeing initial returns on some spend, and so they're kind of doubling down on that. But what that sometimes leads the consumer to feeling is that they are it's not as genuine in messaging, and it feels a little bit more like advertising. So that's where kind of creating a narrative of your brand is really important, because that's just presenting who we are rather than this is the thing that we're trying to sell. So it's creating that so that then they have that kind of that memory, or they know you and they have that relationship to you, because the relationship is what builds those organic impressions, and that's what builds those meaningful interactions where people don't feel like it's just another ad or it's something being sold. It's they're connected to it and they have an understanding of it.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, right? Because like anecdotally, let's say for all of the potential customers who might buy something from us, the thinking is that at any one time, only 3 to 5% of them are actually ready to buy right now, right?
Yeah.
They know about the thing that you offer, or they know about the problem that you can help solve, or they've got the problem, they're motivated to solve it, they've got money to actually to buy the thing or solve the problem. And so, if we just hit them with an ad, our target market with an ad, maybe only 3 to 5% of them are ready to actually take action. Now, the rest of them, right, they're not ready yet. So it's almost like you've wasted money putting the ad in front of them, but also you run the risk of just being seen as a company or someone who just is always asking people to buy stuff.
I guess there's an element of kind of priming your audience, right? So, and they're going to be on kind of on what they call like a buyer's journey, or there's a buyer's funnels, right? So they have to be aware of the brand to end up having that conversion in the end. But some of that, that's where kind of social media is very powerful, is it's having that brand awareness. And so that when they do eventually become ready to make the purchase or make the conversion or click the button, they are already aware of you. So that's where the constant and the having the plan in place and having consistency is important, because you want them to be aware of you, but you don't want to be really putting all your eggs in one basket and having that paid ad. You want them to have understood the product a few times, maybe they've been introduced to it a few times, and then they'll be closer and ready to make that conversion, which is what everyone wants.
There's well used anecdote in business about, if I build a better mousetrap, right, I make the best mousetrap in the world, it really counts for nothing if I can't get that news or that message in front of people who are interested in buying mousetraps. So for new business owners out there, just before we wrap up, if there was one piece of advice you could give them, let's say new business owner, creating a new product, potentially some software or some new technology. Often what we see is new founders that are just so focused on building the mousetrap, building the widget, that they then finish it, and now it's time to try and make some sales. And now it's like, now what? So for anyone that might be watching that is sort of finding themselves in that position, what's the one or two things you would suggest that they absolutely must do first to start their marketing journey, if they're trying to do it themselves, if you were doing it yourself?
Yeah, well, I would say that obviously having a plan in place. In preparation for our discussion today, we've been talking about it, and what we have on the MyMarketer website is we have an audit tool. So that's just a 10-minute audit where a business owner or entrepreneur can go on there and they can get an audit of their marketing activities. So understanding where your starting point is pretty key. Because that's going to determine where you're going. So for the first 10 people who go on and complete this audit, we're offering a free roadmap. So the roadmap is a document that we produce for you, tailored to your business, and that has kind of will lay out the journey for your business and your marketing activities. So often it kind of comes back to that thing where it's if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So that's where we always want to encourage our clients to set out a plan so that we can structure all of our activity around that. So obviously, once you've got that item and you've produced that product or that mousetrap, that's excellent. But the next step is making sure to put that effort into creating that plan and that structure around it.
Awesome. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
that sounds really good, Joshua. So we'll put a link to where people can find this audit somewhere when we publish. Great. Thanks for your time, and look forward to catching up again.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Richard.